What's up, guys? So I'm gonna go through how I made these Jedi robes for my Christmas costumes for my kids. Just gonna do a voiceover because the audio got corrupted. What you see there is the patterns that I used in a small scale based on the Jedi Rebel Legion patterns. And I measured my kids on the far left, you could have saw, and scaled the pattern to them. So I made 3 different sizes. One's the 40 inches, the big one, down to 36, because I have 3 different size kids I was making them for. And I just cut that out on craft paper. And there's a few different size of hoods that I used as well. You'll find that you want to use a larger hood though, because it needs to be baggy to hang down properly. There's just an image of the cut piece once you cut it away from the bolt of fabric. And you can see the general shape is pretty much the Jedi robe. There's all the pieces together. So there's going to be, the back's going to be one piece and the front's going to be 2, and then the hood will be separate. The top and bottom, as you'll see in the next 2 clips, I had to cut it like that. A little different from the link in the description below, because the sheen of this fabric, which is velour, runs in a certain direction. So you want to make sure that it flows towards the ground. If you cut it over the shoulder where the seam would be, then it would go in opposite directions and it might look a little funky. So here I've got it pinned in the seam to make the back pieces along the edge closest to us. And then you'll see when you fold that open, it will be one large pattern, and then you will flip the pattern and then you will cut it in the opposite direction on the other side. So I'm just going to cut this out, kind of boring footage to watch, but things you're going to need are obviously a sewing machine and fabric of your choice, of course. I ended up getting velour because it was ended up being $5 a yard, and I had to make 6 costumes, so that added up quite a bit. I think it ended up being about $12 a costume, so it was about a little over 2 yards per costume, even though I had a bit of a leftover to deal with, which was pretty good. The pattern that I used, again in that description below, it was a little bit different, and his costume was quite a bit baggier, and he gathered it along the back a bit more than I did. But since it was for kids, it hangs pretty fair on a small child, so I wouldn't worry about the technicalities of it. Just get some fabric that's reasonable and I think durable. This has a bit of stretch to it, so the velour itself is a little bit hot, or I guess it's not hot, it's warmer, I suppose. Depends what you're going for, if you want a lighter fabric so kids don't get sweaty, but they seem to like the coziness of it. It's kind of like a bathrobe. Voila, one piece cut, the back piece. So I'm just getting ready to cut the other side there. You'll see as I flip it over that the seam is going to be on the other side now, because that will be the front of the robe where it's open. Dark brown fabric. Obviously the shiny side on the velour is out. Now, if you're lucky, you'll be able to put the hood right inside and get away with cutting a piece. So if you're a little bit short, that's a good spot to try to stick the hood. I would say make the hood as big as possible. Even when you scale it down, it will seem pretty big, but you want it large so it kind of drapes and hangs a little bit over your shoulder to get that Jedi effect. Yeah. So why don't you go ahead and pull up the link and put it onto the right-hand side of this video. You'll see that the guy's pattern calls for the seam to be across the shoulder, which probably looks better overall without having that seam there, but this way is slightly more practical, and because of the sheen of the fabric I had to do it, but it's only really one extra seam to sew down, so you'll have the seam down the back instead of across the arms, which to a child is probably pretty much irrelevant. Here's my mother-in-law going wild on the serger machine. A regular sewing machine will do, but if you have a serger, they're just, I don't know, it's like the devil's magic. So this thing pulls the fabric in, hems it over, and then cuts the excess trim to make it nice and flush, like it was store-bought, I suppose. Just an amazing finish job. Gonna give it a quick test fit. This is the first cut, and the hood's not on. Just giving it a once over. Looks good, feels good. I didn't have a child to try it on because it's a surprise Christmas gift, so didn't want to let the cat out of the bag too soon. If you'll have a look, see, check out the serging. Quite nice quality stuff there. Here's a quick spin for you. Looks good, Jedi-ish, Jedi-esque. It's still gathering a little bit, even on a big guy. The child's obviously going to be super small. There it's hanging. I'm going to show you the back here. I lift it up so you'll see that the hood is gathered a little bit. That's what you want. The hood's kind of oversized and baggy. I didn't gather it along the shoulders like the tutorial, but if you're going to do an adult costume, definitely do it his way. It's going to hang a bit for a child. In the front there, I just I put a little button snap on to keep it from falling off, and that works pretty good. The kids love that little snap there, so I highly recommend just throwing that on there if you got a chance to do that. All good in the hood. All right, here's the not the unboxing, but the unveiling of Jedi Madness on Christmas Eve. Kids are pretty much going crazy at this point. Got the Ultra Sabers, got the robes, got loaded up on candy and junk. Santa already came. Oh, imagine if you had a lightsaber at that age many years ago. It went crazy. Oh, there's the pose. Got the ham in front of the camera. All right, any questions, let me know. Cheers.